We are back. This is This a Pickleball podcast? I'm your host. I'm Matthew K. Pickleball. I am joined today on episode 20 with my co-host or by my co-host, whatever the word is, but I am joined to the hip for life with Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, how are you doing today?
Hey Matt, I'm doing good. It was a great day for pickleball. Did you get to get any pickleball in today?
Today, I did not, but I did get to sneak in a little bit of pickleball this weekend, and we're going to talk all about that. And then I want to hear what you've been up to. But first, I wanted to give a few little quick reminders for the Matthew K. Pickleball channel. Hey, if you're listening, why don't you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That all helps us. The bigger the channel grows, the easier time we have getting access to the gear you want to know about. So please make sure you subscribe. You can watch us here on YouTube, but throw us a subscription over at Apple Podcasts or Spotify. All of that really does help us out. And then there's another reason to subscribe. Wilson, do you have a guess why they should subscribe aside from hearing you talk and then trying to fast forward through the parts where I talk? Why else would people want to be subscribed?
It must be the awesome things that you could win.
All right. I was like, Wilson couldn't think of a reason. But yes, we have giveaways on the channel. We just did a giveaway for the Honolulu J4K, the iconic pizza peel paddle, as well as one of their next generation paddles, or one of their NF paddles, actually. And then we just gave away a Dinkaroo as well as a PaddleTech GOTC. So we're giving stuff away on the Matthew K. Pickleball
Those
channel,
are
at
some
least
pretty
pickleball
nice.
gear.
Those are some pretty good giveaways.
Yeah, I didn't see your entries.
I I didn't know. I don't know what other people have said or not when you ask them if I am allowed to. But I just want to keep it very neutral and just let the listeners enter the
Very,
giveaways.
very, very kind and generous of you. But folks, let us know down in the comments, should Wilson enter these? Because we are now giving away a Carbon TruFoam Genesis 4. Not the Waves paddle, which we'll be talking about, don't worry, but the new hybrid shape of the Genesis TruFoam line. And then I am very, very close. I hope after a couple days after this goes live that my Thrive Fury review will be up. And we are doing a giveaway for that paddle. But Wilson, we're doing something a little different with that one. Our friends over at Flickweight, so the company that does handle weight for your handles, they wanted to tag in on that giveaway. So we're going to be giving away some flick weights as well as a secret flick product that I don't even have the details on. So whoever wins that Thrive Fury is going to get set up with some flick weights as well as a secret product. And then I am probably close to done testing out the new Honolulu shape or the new Honolulu notch foam shapes, and so that breakdown overview will be out relatively soon, and we'll be doing a giveaway there. So please definitely subscribe, hit that like button, it helps us out, and maybe you'll get a reminder to enter a giveaway for some free gear. But
Mhm.
before we get chatting, Wilson, I think real quick at the top, let's do a fit check. I am sporting a new CripsyDinks shirt and still their multi-panel hat. What do you think? What do you think of our little dancing chicks here?
I
Dinking,
think it.
dancing, whatever they're doing.
I love their design. It's definitely not just like performance oriented. It looks like I could at least hit up the bar with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how
Either
you're wearing a long sleeve shirt. It's 95 degrees outside.
Well, Crispy Dinks, hook me up with some of the short sleeves so I can show
Ah,
those off as well. But I'll leave a link for them in the description. Promo code Matthew K saves you 15% over there. And yeah, they got a lot of cool apparel that I am really enjoying. And so check them out. And now, Mr. Wilson, you know what? We were chatting earlier. I was trying to figure out how to get this into the pod, but basically, we're at a crossroads on this little venture we've got going here. All right, because Wilson, everyone in the comments, they're saying I talk too much and they want to hear from you. In fact, I saw one little comment on the interwebs say, Matthew K. Pickleball talks so much, but says so little. So I am going to strive to share this platform. Hopefully they're talking about the podcast. If they're talking about the dedicated reviews, that's crushing, because I feel like I work really hard on those scripts and I feel like every word is has value, but hopefully they're just talking about the podcast. And I told you before I let you talk, yeah, this is my last chance to talk over Wilson.
No.
But I a long time ago, before I came up with my very creative handle of Matthew K. Pickleball, I had considered the handle Pickleball Rambler, because I am aware of my rambling tendencies. This is not news to me, commenters. I have a problem. I know. It's been a lifelong issue. So I'm working
I don't
on
know.
it.
I don't think it's that really even a problem. It's better to have more words than not enough and be all quiet and stuff.
Oh, see, guys, this is why Wilson is on the pod. He's so nice. Always has a kind word. Always kind words. Unless, does he have a burner account? Is he the one commenting all the time? Wilson needs to talk more. But so we were talking about maybe adding a new section to the pod, like Wilson's crazy rant of the week or something like that. But I realized maybe a better way, because I don't want to make you work harder, because you already do so much. And I was thinking maybe each episode I would maybe pose you a question, maybe one you don't even know about, maybe one that I let you know ahead of time, and then we just have a conversation. And then, of course, folks, we're still going to talk about paddles we're testing, paddles we are learning about, getting info on. And then, I don't know, folks, some of you, you get drowned out by all my rambling and you don't always stick to the end. Guys and one gal that watches, guys and one gal, at the very end of the pod, every week, Wilson has a whole segment where he goes over tips and how to get better at pickleball. And that's his thing. That's his soapbox. Because we know no one's going to listen to me on how to get better at pickleball. So if you just stick till the end, you could get a whole earful of Wilson. But anyway, I want to now front load some Wilson, since everyone wants you and wants me off the pod. So this is the question that I wanted to pose. And we kind of chatted a little bit about, this is an ongoing conversation. But, all right, we've been wanting to discuss what makes, or what you think makes a good pickleball reviewer. But I wanted to narrow the topic a little bit and just ask you right to your face.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Well, what is it, Matt?
Here's the question. Is reviewer hype a problem? And what do I mean by that? Or do you know what I mean by that? Let's tell
I
the
think so, but
listeners or the viewers.
let's have you explain it a little more so that everybody's on the same page.
All right, I'm going to let Wilson mull this question over while I explain myself. But so I'm a slow reviewer, you know that. My review of a release always comes out a month or two late. So I understand, though, so I went away for basically half a month during the busiest part of this of the paddle releasing of 2025. And while I was away, it seemed, or this has been kind of going on for a while, it seems like every week there's a the new paddle that you have to get. But then the next week, there's another new paddle that you have to get. And I really as an observer, because I was away, and as an observer, I guess I was kind of in the seat of a normal consumer, not a reviewer, just drowning in the need to like get content out, because really, to be honest, if you put in the time to do a review but you release it after the release, it is harder to get views. And ultimately, a reviewer doesn't want to like spend all this time and energy making something that no one watches. So I totally get the urgency and the need and the desire to like release a review as quickly as possible. However, I mean, I don't know how some of the other reviewers do this. They just have different schedules than me. I don't know how they get through so many paddles and then get all these reviews out. But the thing that I've noticed that's great. That's awesome. That's a great way to grow as a content creator, grow your audience. But like I am a little like confused. Like I find it frustrating, and this is really, I think it was kind of like it happened in such a narrow time frame, but and I was away for most of it. But like initially I saw everyone was saying it's the boomsticks, Selkirk boomsticks. You gotta get those. You gotta get those. $333, but you got to. And then a week or so passed, and then all of a sudden it was BnB's Locos, which I think were like way cheaper. Like I can't, I don't have it off the top of my head, but maybe around the $200 point, maybe less. And
When did the Vatics? When did Vatic
well, so
start
yeah,
out? Was that before the boomstick? I think the
I
V Core was released or at least promoted before the boomstick, right? And that
so
was
review units came out, but there weren't like reviews because I don't know, because the people were testing it and then that news happened. And so that was like kind of an outlier that did
mm.
predate all of this, but
But
it
there
was
was hype around it
boomstick.
because it was the cheapest foam paddle potentially on the market if it was released
Definitely,
at the time.
definitely, yeah.
But yeah,
And then
then the
it didn't.
boomstick, yeah.
Yeah, but then the V Core didn't happen. Then the
Hmm.
boomstick, like, and so this is when I was away. The boomstick, boom! Everyone get the boomstick. You gotta get the boomstick. Or I don't know. You probably watched more reviews than me. That was just my impression. And then it became, oh, now it's the Loco. And then this week, it's the Ronbus Quanta.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of like frustrating for me. Like if I was like a audience person and I like rushed out to get my boomstick ordered, and then a couple weeks later, oh man, the Loco it's cheaper, and then a couple weeks later, oh man, the Quanta it's cheaper. Um,
But just
and
as
so
good.
I yeah, so like what do you think? Am I overreacting? Am I being just a grumpy old Matthew K Pickleball over here, or is there a hype problem? That's what I want to
Uh,
know.
so for people who don't know, I'm mostly on the more on the consumer side. Matt is the main reviewer. I'm just here to ramble on with him, right? But I agree with this hot take, I guess. That there is a lot of hype uh regarding new releases, and I always hear like I swear like everyone in the last month or two, of course they're gonna go like the the titles of the things I've watched were like, oh, potential paddle of the year, this and that. I mean, they make it sound like every single new release is gonna be like the newest, the greatest, the next best thing that will make you a 5-0 player. But I think as a consumer, you will not. I mean, it'll be nice. It's always nice to have new things, right, Matt? But I think most people who have like a paddle within the last year or so, you're fine. And unless you really need a new paddle because you broke your paddle or it's worn out or something, you really, I think you should let the hype settle and see what people who average Joe's reviews are like about these new releases. Because to be honest, reviewers' perspectives of paddles can be very different from the average consumer. So just that's my little 2 cents on the
All
situation.
right.
That yes, there is a problem with hype, but
All
that
right.
that yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, you basically quoted some of my titles, Paddle of the Year, etc. But um, especially when I started doing shorts, like short content, you gotta figure out so many titles, and so
Mm.
I totally get like I am a reviewer. You really have to like hype a little bit to try and get
Mm.
clicks, but I
Yeah.
think I'm 100% with you regarding and because I mean this is also take this with a grain of salt because my reviews typically come later after all the other reviews just because of I guess how my schedule is. But I agree with you regarding like let the dust settle a bit, watch a
Yes.
couple of reviews, and I think we all have this like it was I think it comes all the way back from the Legacy Pro era and then the initial 6.0 Ruby era, where those were very unique paddles at the time, and they really did uh, have like limitations on availability. And I think that mentality has persisted. And so, but I would just suggest to folks don't rush to buy anything. Watch your reviews, see if you can play with one at open play. And no new paddle is going to change your life. It might help your game, it might hurt your game, but hype is a part of what I think content creators have to do because they're always
Mm.
trying to loop in non-subscribers or try to like the algorithm like wants that. And so like I'm not too mad at any of the content creators because I use the same sort of methods of like trying to hook people, trying to get them to click. But I would advise like folks be patient. Like there's really no huge rush, and
No,
technology is moving so quickly. Yeah,
I mean, yes, you need the views as a content creator, and you need the clicks, you need the views, but like for the consumers, right? Watch the videos, give them your views, but you know, see what they have to think. And a lot of reviewers will have like follow up, like 1 month in or something like that. Heck, or
right.
you guys follow Reddit, but I don't follow other social medias, but sometimes people will chime in, like consumers will chime in their 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 likes and dislikes of certain new releases. So
Yeah,
if you just wait 1 month or 2 months, and you'll be able to totally get more perspectives of
yeah.
the release.
Yeah. I also think it helps the podcast helps because you get to do a lot of follow up, which is new
Yeah.
to this channel. And then,
Hmm.
folks, on that note, well, let's try and make this a better resource. So we're about to talk about a lot of paddles. If you've hit with them, if you have thoughts on them, like post your thoughts in the comments so other folks can see, and maybe we could make this a more valuable resource.
Hmm.
And before we move on, the other thing I would say though is I totally get like purchasing stuff is fun. And I do think we are fortunate to be like in a hobby where the next best thing like isn't that crazy price wise,
Just the
especially
boomstick.
minus the boomstick. But yeah, I mean like I went out to eat out here in LA this weekend and
That's a paddle.
that meal cost that's exactly. And so it's like yeah, so it's like we're not it's nice that cuz I know golf clubs must cost more than this stuff.
Oh
So
yeah,
I guess
definitely.
it's like
Hmm.
yeah, so I guess we're kind of fortunate to be in this kind of hobby recreational sport where you could just buy a paddle a month if you really wanted to and had the means. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I've been told. I've
hype.
been told a lot of people who have multiple hobbies or previous hobbies that pickleball has been their cheapest hobby out of all
Yeah.
of the ones that they've had. So
So
yeah.
yeah.
Anyways,
So if you can afford it, chase that hype. If you have some time, let the dust settle. And now, on that note, after that 20-minute let in Wilson talk, I'm sure I talked more than him. I'll see the waveform. I totally messed it up. But folks, give me some time to practice sharing the microphone, please. Like I'm learning, okay? Please have some grace for me, thank you. But moving on, let's give the people what they really want. What are we testing right now? This segment is presented by our friends over at SwiftNet. If you're looking for the best portable net, like you and me are sometimes out here in LA,
Yes.
trying to find, maybe not the best court, but they got lines painted and there are no lines of people, so you get
No
to stay
cues.
on and play.
Yeah.
No cues. So the SwiftNet is a great way to get that cheat code, jump the lines, and just play a lot of pickleball. So check them out. Promo code Matthew K will get you the best price. And so, all right, Mr. Wilson, I want to kick things off. Let's. What about the hype that's starting right now? CRBN TruFoam Genesis Waves. All right, you have hit with it. I've hit with it. And I guess I should share also. So I had a chance. CRBN put on an event, a virtual event, for reviewers where they shared a lot of technical information. Um, and I really appreciate that. There's a lot of good info. However, that info is embargoed right now. I can't really share any of that. And folks, Wilson doesn't even know any of it. So that info is not going to affect his play impressions at all. But I was heartened about some of the stuff TruFoam explained to us. And yeah, the CRBN TruFoam release is going to be their next, or the Waves release is CRBN TruFoam's next iteration of the TruFoam tech. So that's the full foam paddle that we saw previously with the Genesis. Except they are describing this as like their power version. And so it's going to come in the elongated one. It's going to come in the the other elongated with the stretched out head, CRBN 3 version shape, which this is the one I really focused on in my Genesis video, which be sure to check that out because it has a lot of good information, especially on the shapes and which one to choose. And then the wide body, the 2, which if you're looking for a great Gen 2 paddle, I also have a review of that one. Their Gen 2 version of this paddle in the power line is like a real sleeper that I don't see enough of out at open play. And it's probably a good deal right now. And then I was worried in my review of the Genesis 4. I was concerned, are they going to release this shape right away in the Waves line? And they are. But I believe we both hit with the 1. So that's their elongated, but not the stretched out bottom. So it's the longer handle. And so I thought you should kick things off, Mr. Wilson. What
Yeah.
was playing with it like?
It's really good. I of course I do like it more than the Genesis. I just so my impression, my very short impression of the Genesis was it was very soft. It was very pocketing. It pocketed the ball pretty well. But and it was definitely a control paddle or an all court paddle. I it felt nice. However, it was definitely lacking a lot of plow through power and pop. Yeah, so that one, the TruFoam Genesis, this one, TruFoam Wave, it definitely, I like Matt says, I have no idea. I was not part of that call. I have no idea what's inside of here, but I felt immediately within the first game that it had more power. I would still say all court leaning power, but it had a lot more power than the Genesis. Pop was very muted. There wasn't a lot of pop, so I can see that if people who have issues with pop-ups, maybe this might be good too. There wasn't too much pop at the kitchen line, but when I was playing singles and everything, the drives from the baseline, you definitely felt more power in the back with full swings than I did with the Genesis. Overall, it felt really good. It, of course, the I was playing with the Quanta for the last 2 weeks, more or less, and this one felt better out of the box. Granted, people have already recommended that, the Quanta would be the elongated Quanta would be better with weights and stuff. But this one felt great out of the box. Of course, maybe in the next week or two, I'll try to add some weights and experiment as well to see if this gets improved, if performance improves with some weight. But right out the box, it felt great. Yeah, so pop, rarely low pop, great power, great balance, not too head heavy or anything. Um, Definitely something to look forward to.
Awesome. Well, that's very interesting, Wilson. Because I'm also kind of privy to like all the reviewers. I have a sense of everyone busted these out as soon as they
Mhm.
got them this weekend. So I think I really like your take, your summary. It's so funny because you don't know anything
I
about them,
don't, yep. Why am
but
I
it's
here? I don't know anything.
no. That's exactly. But I think your note that. So would you say less pop? So that is
Compare not
there?
not not necessarily compared to the Genesis. The Genesis didn't really have pop either, in my opinion. But compared to the Quanta, even my Pakle and my Luz paddles, those are poppy. This one, I would say it's a muted paddle. Overall, it's muted,
Okay.
but there is power when I put in a full swing from the
Yeah.
baseline and
So
drives and such like that.
right. Okay. Well, I think your take lines up with my take.
Oh.
And I think this one for soft hits has less of that propulsive effect that the Genesis ones had. That's so it sounds like you're saying this is less poppy than some of the other paddles you've been testing out recently.
The
It's muted.
power paddles, yeah.
Yeah. But still, you can generate a lot of power with these.
Hmm.
And I would go so far as to say this is a, I think poppy is a hard word. I think this is less propulsive than the
Yeah.
Genesis versions, which
Mm.
that I think is a preference, which you prefer. I don't know. I know you didn't hit with the Genesis quite as much. Would you be able to say which one had more or less dwell in your opinion?
Um, so what I liked about the Genesis was the control I had and the dwell I had with the ball. I was able to actually, I was always surprised at how not gritty carbon paddles are, yet there were still at least the true foams. I've never actually really hit with the Gen 2s or even the Gen 1s, but um they're not as gritty as the more grittier paddles I played with. And yet I was able to shape the ball pretty well, especially in the back with at the baseline. But I would say, sorry, what was the question again?
Well,
What,
I was asking, do you think this new version or the Genesis version had more
better.
dwell?
Uh, um, I would say more or less it was the same. Or it was
Okay.
negligible to me. It was negligible, but they both felt great.
Okay.
I do like the pocketing, the dwell time that it has over a lot of the paddles that I've been playing with recently.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I think as someone that does do a lot of driving, especially since you were testing this out in singles, um, I think your take is in line with probably like how the other TruFoam paddles have been reviewed. I think
Hmm.
I was always a little bit on the outlier because I am pretty sensitive to paddles that have dramatic dwell and then propel the ball off. That's something I'm sensitive to. And I think the new version of the TruFoam, at the kitchen, the soft game, or if you're soft hitter, I think it had a more familiar dwell time. And so your pacing, I didn't have as much of adjustment as I did with the Genesis line. And so I like that. Out of the box, I could play with this just fine. Of course, there's more testing to be done, and I was playing in lower caliber games at open play, so I wasn't really punished for pop-ups. I mean, to be honest, it was open play on a Saturday morning, and so I don't know how many dinking rallies I got into.
Should have
So
came
that
over
remains
when I
to really
told
be
you.
test. You were so far away.
It is far. It
But
is far.
yeah, but we'll test these out some more. But my first impression was great power. But if you're someone that was kind of concerned about pop-ups with the old Genesis line, I think Carbon's done some stuff, and maybe I'm biased because I have a little bit of tech knowledge about them, so maybe that affected how I felt with the paddles, although I really don't. But I don't think that's the case. But I think I really liked the touch in the short game of the new ones compared to the old ones. And so, all right, we're going to keep testing these. There's going to be a review on the channel, so make sure you subscribe. And now you already sort of mentioned it, but I've also been... So you were testing the elongated Quanta for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so, real quick, why don't you summarize, since you just hit the TruFoam Genesis? I know you kind of hinted at this, but how did these two stack? And remember, folks, this is that line of paddles, the full foam line from Ronbus, the folks that did the Ripple and are one of the first paddle companies to dip their toe into like the full foam thing. But they're selling these for $99 after promo code MatthewK in 5 different shapes. They went on pre-sale, but the site crashed because so many people ordered at once. But it seems like I saw a message from Rhombus, and it seems like those pre-orders, like, they're not going to sell out, like, because I guess they're pre-orders. So if you're still wanting in on this, definitely check the site. Promo code MatthewK gets you that lowest price. But as someone that played quite a bit with this one, and then just did a session or two, a little bit of a session on the Waves elongated, how do they compare? What do you think?
So the Wave compared to the Quanta would be a control paddle. The Quanta, even though it was lighter, it was definitely poppier, more powerful than the TruFoam Wave.
Okay.
But this definitely felt better overall. If you just want pure raw power and pop and that you can't go wrong with the Quanta. But for me, if I want to make the Quanta a player's paddle, I would definitely have to modify it and stuff. But I could see me playing with this right out of the box and competing with it. The Quanta, I definitely have to adjust it before I modify it before I compete with it. But you know, price points and everything makes a difference. But yeah, the Quanta is definitely a fun paddle for the majority of people out there. And good for them for having enough traffic to crash their website. But yeah, I hope whoever got one, wanted one, got one. Like you said, they're pre-orders. So hopefully you guys get one whenever they ship them out. Yeah.
And you guys heard Wilson's take, but he finally gave me this bad boy back. And this is
I
why I
didn't I did
like
not want to give
us.
it back, but
You did not,
no.
but I appreciate it. Rhombus, come on, give us duplicates. We'd be able to hit them at the same time. But
Mm.
this is why I like us being on the pod together, Wilson, because you know what, folks, if you don't know this, I prefer the right side, and I'm a softer hitter. Um, Right, and then Wilson, I'd say you do mixed doubles quite a bit at tournaments. You're a left side player,
Yeah.
and you're a more dominating player, and very you like to access power,
Yeah.
right? Would you say I've assessed these pretty all right? And for me, folks, I've heard all the reviewers. I think most of the reviewers I think fall in Wilson's category of play style, and they all seem to agree with you. Like this paddle with weight is awesome. Um, hot take, Wilson. I played with this. I think it's awesome out of the box. So this
Ah.
is the lightest weight elongate, like a super lightweight elongated, and Wilson was testing this out, and then I actually was testing. I
Was
was
it the
testing
hybrid?
out the hybrid, which is currently hiding from me, but I was testing out the hybrid,
Which one's that one? The
and
R
I really this is the 4, so
R4.
not the like super exaggerated stretched out one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more of the silhouette of like what I'm super familiar with, the J2 from Honolulu. Similar. It's probably more narrowed here. Um, and I was really enjoying this. It's of all the foam paddles, it's an aggressive paddle, powerful with pop, but in my opinion, based off of the testing I've been doing, this line on soft hits isn't crazy propulsive. So so you have to remember when we're talking about dwell, there are two moments of like talking about dwell. At the baseline where you have on drives where like tennis players really like that feeling because you can add action, shape the ball, and it's like that's one point. But there's another point of dwell where your soft short hits up at the kitchen, and that's where I'm fine with dwell for baseline hits. Like that's fine. My problem sometimes with paddles that dwell too much and then have the ball propel off. On short hits, I hit under the ball a lot as a defensive player. I hit under, and sometimes the ball will launch and I'll get pop ups. And the timing of my strokes will get thrown off if the dwell is too dramatic. But that propulsiveness has been part of foam paddles since they really started. That long dwell with the shoot off the face. I think these, and I think I'm a little bit in disagreement in how and how other folks are describing it, but I didn't think these paddles had any sort of like odd timing. To me, in short, softer hits, they played linearly. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it was nothing too propulsive. They were poppy. They were, yeah, linear would be a great way of describing the power. Yeah,
And
linear power.
and
Yeah.
I okay. All right. So you're in a all right. We might get roasted for that one, Wilson. But anyway, I thought they played
Well,
linearly,
no, this is
and I thought
stock. This is their
stock.
stock.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah. So maybe, there
definitely.
may be some, maybe it might become exponential if you add some weight on the side if there was a little more mass behind
Right.
it. Yeah.
So I definitely think what folks, the reviewers and folks that like power are going to do, add weight to increase dwell to maximize power. And so I imagine if you weight these up, and I think that's how most reviewers are doing it, and then talking about the paddle weighted up, you're going to have more dramatic dwell and then more propulsive power. And so then
Mhm.
you're making these into like foam paddles that we have seen, but at a dramatically cheaper price, right? But what I'm saying that I think is really unique is if you don't customize them, they play like really powerful traditional pickleball paddles. Like you saw my serves and drives. Did those not go like you don't see me hit that deep normally.
No.
But I yeah, and so I liked that I got more power and could hit deeper without changing my game. And then the other thing that I liked about the elongated in particular was it is so light stock weight, static weight wise. It feels fast in the hands. And I grew up, I started just like you with the elongated X Pack. I graduated to the Vatic V7.
Mhm.
And then after that, I've been almost exclusively maining hybrids. And this is like over 2 years now. Um, but it was so much fun going to an elongated, having that extra reach, having that additional option of making ball contact here for a different kind of hit, but still having the hand speed that the hybrid shape has that I'm now used to. And my game is a lot of blocks, a lot of flicks, and hand speed is very important. But getting that speed, but in the elongated shape, was awesome. And once again, the price $100 or $99 after promo code Matthew K. And so yeah, we were talking about hype earlier, but I think the hype is real with this line. It is definitely in contention for Paddle of the Year for me. And then yeah, I think folks, if people are saying this paddle has a ton of dwell, make sure you take into account if they've weighted it up or not. But if you're someone that wants brief play off the face, which say like a paddle tech brief, that's what I'm talking about right now, as opposed to like balls that dwell and live on there, and can affect your timing. If you like your ball action, your to be brief, the play to be brief on the face, try these stock. I highly recommend trying the Quantas stock and then building your weight setup afterwards. But if you're someone that knows you want dwell, if you're someone that's looking for like the TruFoam kind of dwell that you know from foam paddles, yeah, you're gonna have to add weight. But this is a different style foam paddle. Is the point I'm trying to make. This is very unique, and I'm excited. I'm very excited about it. It's probably, to be honest, for me, someone that likes light paddles and quick moving paddles, and someone that doesn't like would choose those things over power. Like this is like probably I think I'm gonna test it some more, but this is like I think my could be my favorite foam paddle. This design, and so I don't know which shape yet, but I'm very excited. And now that I hyped you all up and have done exactly what we talked about not doing, I mean, it is just such a good value, and so I'm excited to see Ronbus explore a lower price point. And I think all of their stumbling with the Ripple and all of that has led to something very good for consumers. Because I never was like on the big Ripple train. I found that kind of frustrating, like to even understand what was going on, and I didn't really like it was a frustrating experience. And so I'm glad that have gotten things sorted, and this line is very, very cool. And it also has a standard shape and a couple other shapes as well. So check them out. The hype is real with the Quanta line. And then I guess I did want to mention as well. This is the prototype of the Loco, another foam paddle that isn't as cheap as the Ronbuses or the Ronbus Quantas or the yet to be released VSOL line, but I think it's right up there with Honolulu's price points. It's cheaper than the original TruFoams, and I've done a few hits with this, and it is a very it's not a it's I'd say it sits between like the super dwelly foam paddles and then the Quanta, and so I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it actually, granted, these are different shapes because you have that's the standard, I believe. It has the what is that? The flicks feel to it. Uh, it feels no
Oh, the
the
flick from Body Helix.
body
I could see
helix
that. The
flick paddle. They're different shapes, so it's kind of hard until you get an elongated version to try out.
yeah.
But it has that flick, the body helix flick vibes
Yeah.
to
And
the
I think
logo.
people really like that paddle. So at this point, I think the foam paddles are kind of like how you like what kind of feel you want and what
Hmm.
kind of ball action you want. And also, we've been trying out Bread and Butters over grips. Really, they've changed their formula. I'm really liking those. And then I also wanted to point out on the Rhombus, you had suited it up with an overgrip from AntPickleball, and
Hmm.
this you played with quite a while, and I haven't changed it out. And for a white overgrip, that ain't bad
Not bad,
for the
not
amount of
bad.
time and how sweaty it is out here, or how hot it is out here. And I like the feel. I'd say it's comfort, but not overly thick. I think some overgrips are too thick. This isn't
Mhm.
thin by any means, but I don't think it's too thick. And it has a nice balance of comfort and tack. It's definitely
Yeah,
not the tackiest, in my opinion. It's not gluey, but you got a good feel, and I think enough cushion. And then playing with your grip setup, like how you do the extra wraps around the butt.
yeah.
Yeah, Ant Pickleball's overgrips are long enough for that. Some of
Hmm.
the pickleball grips, especially some of the cheaper ones, they've just shortened them, and so you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be able to do that. So you got good length with Ant Pickleball, and yeah, I like them. I'm gonna keep testing them out. But actually, this is a small business, and I've talked to the owner, and he's super nice. And promo code Matthew K should get you a discount over there. So check them out. Support small business. But yeah, Ant Pickleball. All right, okay, Mr. Wilson. We're not only hitting foam though. No,
Mm-mm.
we did something else. We broke out some kind of random paddles. So I haven't really covered Engage on the channel before. Um, and they're an interesting company. They and so I had these paddles, and we hit around with them, and I kind of wanted to try these out. These are the Pursuit Pro One Innovation in 12.7 and 15.2 millimeters. I believe these are cold press paddles, but Engage is working on their first heat press paddle or Gen 2 paddle, and I'm very curious how those play. I think a company that's focused so long on crafting high quality cold press paddles, then bringing that tech into their design formula, could be special. And maybe I could try and get a review unit of those. But real quick, why don't we? What was your thought on these? You tried both.
Yeah, so these are cold pressed, right? So I tried it without knowing what they were made out of or how they were made. But if they were cold pressed, a Gen 1, essentially, right? Or 1.5, 1
Um,
sandwich construction,
yeah, I
something
don't
like
know if they
that.
have. Yeah, I
Uh,
think they're Gen 1 in the sense like the paddle techs are Gen 1, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think these are weighted or have any weights in them like they do in paddle techs, but um, I could totally see, you know how recently all the foam paddles are just 16 millimeters or more or less like
Yeah.
one thickness, and yet they can be super powerful, right? I think the nice thing about foam paddles or even Gen 3 paddles with the foam enhanced paddles, you can really get the control and the power in the same paddle, as opposed to back so long ago, 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, where you had Gen 1 paddles and you had to choose between more or less 16 or 14 mil. I mean, of course, there are some companies with different ones, like I think Engage has some really odd thicknesses.
Yeah, so these are those odd thicknesses, yeah,
But
15.2 and 12.7.
So you either have to choose a thick paddle for control, or a thin paddle for more pop and power, right? Back in the Gen 1 era. But and I do
More or less.
yeah, or at least that was the general idea and characteristics of the thicknesses. And I felt like the thicker 15 mil paddle engage was controllable. It was perfectly fine. However, the sweet spot was a little small, and it was definitely lacking any pop and power for me. I really have to throw my body into it in order to get any powers from my drive and everything. Um, this is, of course, stock. If I added some weights, I could probably be able to, create some power out of it, get some power out of the 15 mil. On the 12 mil, however, it was poppier. It was more even though it was poppy, the power was only aligned to a modern day all court to me. It
Right.
was definitely it's a player's paddle. It doesn't really have the power that the modern day paddles have. But they're fun. The only thing they felt great. The feel was great. I was able to control my balls perfectly fine. The only thing that my only concern or complaint is that they were lacking some power, and the sweet spots
Yeah.
were ever so slightly smaller. So
Yeah. And
power
so,
and sweet spot.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, classic Gen 1 made like for folks that they're lightweight, I believe, especially for elongated. And so, yeah, they're made for customization.
Mhm.
And so, definitely, I think the foam paddles have probably, or the foam enhanced paddles in particular, have probably spoiled us. Like you don't need to customize them out of the box. And so yeah, these could definitely benefit from customization. But if you're looking for, paddles with good touch and long reach,
Mhm.
these are ones to look at. But obviously, I think everyone's excited to see their take on Gen 2. And so maybe a little bit behind, but we've seen companies take their time and bring something very cool to the market. And then we were testing LUQIOvergrips with these guys, and
Yeah.
these I really like as well. I've talked about Lucci on the channel before. They are a great. Not as many people talk about Lucci as some of the other pickleball grip companies. But what's great about Lucci is they've got a ton of different lines between like that range and tack or dry, and so definitely check them out. But Engage is a little bit of a funny company, and I haven't really had them on the channel because they're hard to get review units from. But I did want to give a shout out to PickleballCentral, who sent these paddles to me a while back. And yeah, if you're interested in Engage, the brand, if you're wanting to check out their new line that's coming out, the Gen 2 paddles, I would recommend looking at Pickleball Central. If you use my link for Pickleball Central down in the description, I have it like in every video. It will like automatically give you the best price because Engage, it works differently than like most. They're like an old school company, and so I would check out Pickleball Central. And the big benefit of ordering from them as opposed to like another site is, I mean, they're huge. And because they're huge, they presumably have good customer care, like because they have the overhead to, or they have they're big enough to have that. But the real big feature is their paddles have a 30-day test drive period. So they obviously don't sell every brand, but I know folks are always like kind of like, if you don't get a chance to demo a paddle and then you buy one and then you don't like it, what do you do? Like not every company, like they're like, it can't have ever been used, you can't have looked at it and be able to return it. And so I think the 30-day risk-free paddle test drive is a good plus. So check out Pickleball Central. They have this low price promise. And then, one thing, and I point this out in my Thrive review, that sticker price that we have for paddle companies, like once you then go through all the shipping and putting in your zip code, sometimes that price rockets up and sometimes it doesn't. Some companies, the taxes, fees, shipping, and we're out here in California, So we probably have more taxes than some folks, but some paddle companies, if you order directly, that's included in the sticker price. But then some aren't, and you don't really find out till you're in the shopping cart. But Pickleball Central, if you're ordering something over 49 bucks, fast and free shipping is what they've told me. And so definitely check them out. And they have a reward program. So as we were talking about before, with anyone that's loving the paddle hype, building up, getting some store credit from your purchases isn't a bad thing. So, and then I guess you could go different brands as well if you went through like a hub. So check out Pickleball Central. Use the link to get the best price. And so Pickleball Central, how about you send us the new ones to try out and test out? But anyway, all right. I know you've been testing a few other things, but maybe we could just highlight really quickly. I know one of your go-to nows is the Pakle EVO01. Is that right?
Yeah, the PakleEVO01. Yeah,
Evo one. All right.
Evo one.
All right.
So
All right.
you
Give
know,
us a quick summary. Yeah.
yeah. So this is a Gen 3 style paddle. With the horseshoe foam enhancement right here. I've been playing my tournament, the last few tournaments and money balls with this paddle. It's still my go-to. I revert back to this when I need reliability. It's a great paddle. Anyways, what I've been doing is that at the end of every session or beginning of the session, depending how I feel, um, I will, after testing out a couple of paddles, I'll go back to this one just to see and compare how the other paddles felt and played. Because sometimes when you're like jumping between paddles and other paddles and paddles and paddles, you kind of lose focus on oh well, what what was a control paddle, like not the feeling of like a control or power or something, but like what was a good baseline that you're comparing that paddle to. So I've made this paddle my baseline. So like the Quanta would be more powerful than this. It will be definitely lighter than this. This one is heavier than the Quanta. I would say that. This one has more power. Quanta has more pop. Stuff like that. It helps me kind of focus on the differences. Because then if you keep jumping to a new paddle and a new paddle and a new paddle, you tend to forget, like, well, what was power like? Or what was a control paddle like? What was a Gen 3 like? Stuff like that. So like for example, this compared to like the TruFoam Wave. I did that. I played singles with both. This one was definitely more powerful, but it was more poppy, like more of a not as much dwell time. This is just, I guess you would say, harsh or responsive. That's the word. Um, this is definitely more responsive than the TruFoam Wave. That's why I said this one was very dwelly. I could shape the ball and stuff. This one, not as much, but there, of course, comes with more power. So yeah, so the Pakle Evo 1 is my go-to control. This is what I've been using.
Baseline.
Baseline. Thank you. I'm brain farting today. It's Sunday. Uh, this is my baseline and my tournament paddle right now. So if you ever see me
Great.
playing a money ball or anything, this would be what I'll be using.
Wow, well, that's interesting. My baseline uh, was for a really, really long time the Honolulu J2K, and then it became the J2H Plus this
Hmm.
year. It's probably a little. I got some news for you, Wilson. First off, it's funny that your baseline is probably like
Power paddle.
a paddle that not a lot of people have. But I
Okay.
have more
I
news
should
for you.
change it. I should find. I
No,
should go back
no.
to the 11624 Alpha Pro power and even just the power.
I mean, but you
Mhm.
love the Packle.
I
You
do
love
like
the
the Pakle.
Packle.
I have nothing against 11624. It's just that after a while, I do like the the slightly longer shape, rectangular shape
You know, I
of the
think
Pakle.
the base, yeah,
Yeah.
the baseline's more for you than for anyone else. It's not like I think it's
Yeah,
helpful for the audience to.
but like you said, for
Yeah, no, I'm
consumers,
not telling you.
it's nice to get a better comparison. Like, oh, I have 11,624 power, so this paddle feels more like that, or better, more powerful, less powerful,
No, no,
more
no.
more.
You, no, you do you. You do you.
Okay,
Everyone, go buy a
okay.
Packle, and then you'll be. It's a
There
good
you
paddle.
go. Yeah.
But I have some news for you.
What's
So
up?
Packle has a history of iterating, and they did this with their old hybrids that we talked about on the podcast before. And the podcast, like where I make that prediction, like Packle might be the next Honolulu pickleball company, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
They have a history of doing some changes, improving as they go. And Mr. Wilson,
What happened? Are they coming?
you might have to grab another Evo one because I was talking to them. Someone had commented they are making some adjustments. So
Hmm.
currently the swing weight they told me of the paddle that you have is between 115 to 122, and
Tie.
they think
Hmm.
that's a bit high for some players, and so
Hmm.
they're
I agree.
reducing the swing weight to, yeah, so they're reducing it to 108 to 115 in the next
Wow.
batch,
For an
along
elongated.
along with uh-huh along with decreasing the static weight by zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 ounces. And so their thinking is this allows for more weight customization. And they also think the current version, the one you've been hitting with, is more suitable for 4.0 plus players. And so I don't know if they're going to offer two versions, the heftier one that you've got and this new one, or if they're just trying to make it uh, a little easier all around. And so if you want the current one that Wilson's always hyping and talking about, you might want to go buy it now. And I believe promo code Matthew K is set up over there. But yeah, Packle is doing some changes I thought you should know about because I know it's
Mhm.
becoming your main. And so
It's definitely
hopefully
my
you'll like
Wayne.
the new version.
So yeah, it I agree with what they're saying, and it's the swing weight is definitely high. However, like we've said before, I've been using this lightning loop during my drill sessions and stuff. So with with the lightning loop, everything feels super light. So I've gotten used to it.
All right.
But
Got
yeah,
it.
this one's definitely. I agree with him. The swing weight is on the high side for a lot of the people. But like I said, you can hit the gym, pump some iron, and it'll be fine. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. All right. Fair enough. And then, all right, before we wrap up, I did have a couple of paddle alerts that I did want to share really quickly. I finally got my hands on some of the hyped
Sure.
Element 6 paddles. So I have the Surtr, which is described. So actually, we've talked about Element 6 on the channel before. They're a Tennessee based company. But yeah, their paddles have been making their rounds on the interwebs. Apparently, they've got a pretty big fan base now. Apparently, very vocal. Hey, if you're a fan, let us know down in the comments. But I haven't hit with these. I haven't said anything bad or nothing. So don't come at me just yet. I heard some of their fans are very vocal. But I'm excited to hit with these. You know, I love hybrids. I think it's suture. I don't know. I don't know how you say it. But it's carbon frame. They call it carbon framed and fully foam injected paddle. From what my understanding is, it seems to be like kind of similar to that rib structure with foam that we've seen in like the gearboxes, some of the gearboxes, but it's in this my familiar little hybrid shape. So excited to hit that one. And then they also have this Incendio, which is a Gen 3. And this is my understanding. It's like a Gen 3 construction in the vein of a Pro 4, but in a hybrid shape, and it's 14 millimeters. So this is different than the Honolulu J2H Plus, which is Gen 3 but floating core, but that's a 60 millimeter paddle, or the Thrive Fury, which is between 15 and 16 millimeter, and that one's diving board style. I think this is diving board. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't gotten to hit with it. If you know down in the comments, if you know, let us know down in the comments. Is this diving board where the foam core runs through the handle, or is it floating core where the foam ring stops the center core element? Because that's, I think, really impacts the touch and feel as well as the propulsiveness in both drives and short hits. But excited with these. I believe I've gotten set up with promo code Matthew K. And then I don't have this one yet, but they also have another hybrid called the Zephyr. It's on pre-sale right now, so I did want to highlight that because it's at a lower price right now. But the price will change. So if you want to get on that pre-sale, check it out. And I believe that one's full foam. So they have trying all the different techs. Yeah, people are really liking these. I'm excited to hit with them. And then I had one more alert. And so folks, of the paddle alerts, comment down below which one should I prioritize testing? Because do you know this thing?
Ooh, Sypik, right? From Asia?
It is Sypik, that's right. It's a Vietnamese paddle company. This
Dong
is
uses it,
not
right?
well,
Or
okay, so this is
sponsor.
not the Avatar Pro Gen 4 paddle that Huang Yun or QD plays. This is the Triton Pro 3, which I thought I guess I erased it in my notes for some reason. Oh no, Triton Pro 3, and my understanding is this is a Gen 3 paddle. The one QD uses is a Gen 4 foam paddle, I believe. I would love to do a comparison of the two. I think that would be the most fun video, but this company is based in Vietnam, and so they're kind of hard to get in touch with. And I was actually supplied this review unit, so they now have a little bit of a U.S. arm based down in Texas, and so if you try to buy these on on Sypik's website, it's kind of, I don't even know if you can buy it online through them directly. So you go through vendors, I think, or maybe pro stores. I'm not exactly sure, but I talked to the guy running the US arm, and it's a small sort of thing. But if you message him on Instagram, so he's it's Sypik Texas or something like that. I'll be sure to link their account. If you message them and say promo code Matthew K or Matthew K Pickleball sent you, he'll arrange you getting their gear at a 10% discount. And so I thought that was pretty cool. They're not really set up to do online sales. They're a Vietnamese company. And so if you're US based, if you want to get a deal, if you want that discount, 10% off if you message them and arrange a purchase on their Instagram. And so, yeah, I thought it was pretty nice of them. And so I'm going to hit with this. And maybe I can hit with the QD paddle at some point. Maybe. Who knows? That'd be cool. But yeah, I think it's a good looking paddle. It's cool to see other countries there's a lot of gear in other countries that hasn't really trickled into the U.S. market as much. I also heard in Asia, forgeries are a big deal. Bad counterfeits, and so that it seems that they're doing the chip as well to make sure you're getting an authentic paddle, which I appreciate. And we'll be talking more about counterfeits and fakes more on the channel, so make sure you subscribe if that's something that will interest you. But yeah, those are my main paddle alerts. And so I think it's time, Mr. Wilson. I think we need to get better at pickleball. So why don't you give us the tip of the week? This is presented by BodhiPickleball. If you're looking for overgrips, if you're looking for weight, if you just need sweatbands, you need bandana, or you need anything, I don't know. They probably have kitchen sinks at this point. If you need some gear, check Bodhi out. Promo code Matthew K will get you the best price. So, what is the tip of the week, Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, so my tip of the week is related to your the shots, the volleys you make at the kitchen. I noticed that there are some people who either, volley the ball right into the net, or they may pop up their volleys. And one thing I would tell them to avoid that, because when you hit into the net, you either go from down to up, from up to down, and then that'll throw the ball into the net, or they may go from down to up and pop up their volleys. So my recommendation is try going from left to right for back. So this is all right-handed players. So from if there's their backhand, you go from left, swipe to the right. If it's forehand, swipe from the right to the left. You want to go across your body, so that you can avoid going up or down. You're more on a linear plane with a little closed face if needed, instead of a open face. So what I noticed that from going side to side as opposed to down or up, is that you kind of cancel out that risk of really hitting it into the nets, because you're not going towards the net. You're not hitting the ball down or anything. You're hitting it more of a flat shot, and I think that will help reduce a lot of accidents, like accidental pop-ups, accidental volleys into the net. Yeah, so and also one thing is that if you can, if it's like a high ball, try not to reach into the kitchen for the ball, especially if you're going to try to catch the ball out of the air in the kitchen, but the ball is below the net, why not let the ball bounce? I see a lot of people try to reach for the ball, and then their paddle face goes up, and then it'll definitely pop up the ball. If you can let the ball come to you, or if you see that the ball is a high floaty ball, go ahead and let the ball come to you before you attack it. Don't try to like reach for the ball and attack, because when you reach, you lose a lot of power because you're already reaching. You can't use your whole body to hit. Um, and so you lose power and a lot of control because your paddle face. You lose wrist maneuverability the farther away you are from your body. So the closer you are, you can not like close at your body, but when you're relatively close to yourself, you can adjust accordingly, and you can use your whole body to generate power, as opposed to just using your wrist to punch the ball. Yeah. So yeah. To reduce volley errors, go side to side. Try swinging side to side as opposed to down or up. Yeah.
All right, Wilson. I followed, I think, most of that, but what
Sorry.
I'm taking away, sometimes the pickleball tips, you gotta be good enough to understand them. So, but I think I got it. I think I would say I would just tack on to that. It sounds like a big part of what you're talking about is have your paddle in the ready position,
Yep.
and if you have it in the ready position, it's more natural to do side to side. But if you're being lazy and you got it sagging down there like a bag of
Then you go
groceries,
up.
you're going to end up doing a pop up. Yeah, I hear that. And then as far as like hitting into the net on the overheads, I actually see that more when folks are mid court,
Mm,
or in the transition zone. And
mm,
often they're so excited to hit what's not really an overhead, but maybe a pop up, but you're not at the kitchen. I
mm,
see them slam those into the net quite a bit, and I would.
mm,
That's a court positioning thing more than anything.
mm.
But yeah, if they were in the ready position, I don't know how their paddle got high, but
Well,
I see that
no,
a
like
lot mid court.
if basically if you watch like Ben Johns play and stuff, and when he hits volley at the kitchen line, you'll see him go from like swipe left to right as opposed to down into
Yeah.
the net. If you ever watch the pros play, you'll see. Just notice how they volley at the kitchen line. They
No,
swipe
no, I
left to right, right
definitely.
to left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. At the kitchen,
yeah.
I definitely know that. At mid court, I'm not. quite sure how someone's paddle gets in that position to hit down into the net. But I see that a lot. But I think having your paddle in the ready position throughout is even in the transition zone will help. But yeah, very cool, very good. All right, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready to swipe. Wax on, wax off. That's all I'm gonna be doing with you from now on. No more dipping the sponge into the bucket. No more emptying the gutters. It's wax on, wax off. I gotcha.
There you go.
All right. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of today's pod, episode 20. As we wrap things up, we've got a link for a friend of ours, Dwayne. He had a pretty serious spinal injury, and he's got a GoFundMe. He's got some mounting medical bills. So if you have some extra money, if you could help him out, that would be super appreciated. And yeah, he's our pickleball buddy, and we need to get him back into our game. So shoot him some cash if you can. And then a few giveaway reminders. Don't forget, the CRBN TruFoam Genesis 4 review has a giveaway. If you want a TruFoam paddle for free, go check out that review. And then there will be one for the Thrive Fury with all those extra goodies that we talked about from our friends over at Flickweight, including that super top secret product I don't even know about. Whoever wins that raffle, I don't know, guys. Get Wilson to enter that one so I can see what the heck that thing is. And then there will be one for a Honolulu NF paddle or FC Plus. So, no, not an FC Plus, I don't think. An NF paddle, though, in one of the new shapes. So keep your eyes peeled for that video. And to do that, why don't you subscribe so the videos pop up? So make sure you like and subscribe. And then, most importantly, I hope you get to pickle soon. Mr. Wilson, do you want these folks to pickle soon?
I hope everybody gets to pickle soon.
Amazing. But even more importantly than pickling soon, what we want you to do is remember, don't forget, it's about having fun. And that's it. So we'll see you guys on the next one.